Hello, I'm Jen Lynn Roberts with Present Path Tarot, and today I'm sharing with you the Sovereign Oracle expansion decks. They're 30 cards each, and they cost $9. I just got my kits on an Indiegogo campaign, along with the big original kit of 93 cards. Now, these are word cards, and so any of these decks would be a nice thing to have unto itself, but I also think that she's put a lot of thought into them all working together as well. So the backs of the decks are each very pretty, and then you have a how to use and an about this deck. And then you also have a little spread that's unique to each deck, a card that gives you a couple spread options. And some of them only have one. So we start with breathe, and then she gives you a little more explanation as to what that card might be about. And I like that she also has images there so that you could have a certain set of colors arranged. You could say, oh, okay, this is a very blue situation or white, and work from there. And I really appreciate the thought that she has put into this. She also likes to use big words, which I like sometimes. You find in her descriptions, she's not shy to make you have to get a dictionary on occasion. And I feel like she really helps direct what that would be about in a reading. I like her takes on things. So I originally bought this deck for my boyfriend, and he loves it. He used to read tarot a little bit, but this is much easier to access for those who just don't need to work with the symbology, but still have some images on the back to get a sense on. So I'm going to clear these aside. And so that's the Inspired Living deck. And then let's go for Creative Visions. So I'd say that the Inspired Living deck is the most woo of the deck, and moving down to Creative Visions, which is slightly less woo. So again, you have a spread, but this time she gives the explanations of what those are about on the back, and about this deck and how to use again. And this one has a nice brown auburn sort of tone. So these, the images are a lot more bright and vibrant on, and might speak a little more to each other when they're landing in a spread together. So I love when I come home and I see my boyfriend has laid out a spread for himself. He often does for his business. It just helps him get inspired and make himself feel like he's able to get insight into what's happening in his life from a new perspective. So for those of you who don't feel totally comfortable learning to read your own cards, this is a great way to access divination. Oops, card down. From a place that you can work with your own interpretations of words, and yeah, let yourself be a little free with how to translate those words. Let it be a creative endeavor. I really like the choices of words, especially in the Creative Visions deck. I just feel like it really captures. So that was Creative Visions. And then the Spirited Business deck. So this one is, a nice sort of labradorite blue on the back. And this one has the about this deck and how to use. And it also has the expansion spread. So your current situation, visibility, market advice, inner growth opportunity, something to phase out, something to expand. So this one is great for people maybe in a business meeting could use a deck like this to discuss a concept together and lay out a spread and each interpret it how they believe it makes the most sense. And so then you get a really amazing exchange happening of ideas. And I like again that the colors in the background of this, when you're doing a reading, can really speak to what the overall message might be. If you get a reading and it all comes out really purple or really yellow, you can take that as part of the meaning of the message according to what purple speaks to you. Or if there's a lot of activity in the cards or a lot of solidity in the cards, you can just work with whatever messages seem to also be in the images provided. Yeah, so there's the expansion decks, and that was the Spirited Business deck. And now let's go into the Sovereign Oracle original deck so you can get a sense of where she began. So this was from a few years ago, and it was one of the really popular decks at the Tarot Symposium where I picked it up. And so again, she gives you some details. And then some spread options. So the creative project spread, the business spread, and I'm sure she has other options on her website. And so this is a great base deck that covers all sorts of topics. I also really like the size of this deck. It's easy to kind of throw in your pocket and carry around with you. It's easy to sneak out of your pocket and get a couple cards, get a quick reading, a quick word for yourself. And I'm not going so slow that you could probably read all of it, but of course you can pause the video if you really want to see how she defined that word. And I've had another word deck as well, but I like this one much better. She's really thought out what words strike as relevant guides. And she herself is an intuitive, so I trust that we have a mutual friend here in Portland. And I feel like she also pulled the words partly from her own divination practice. Maybe we'll get to talk to her and find out where this inspiration came from. It's hard not to be conscious of nails, my fingernails and hands when I do these particular close-up flip-throughs. Really love the images in here too. I feel like she put a lot of thought into the image, especially in the Sovereign Oracle deck. There's kind of themes, it seems, in the new decks, while the Sovereign Oracle, like flowers for the Inspired Living deck, and kind of bold images in the Creative Visions, and more business-like in the Spirited Business. And I feel like for this deck, each word itself really captured its own background. And again, it's $20 for the large deck and $9 for each expansion deck. It's 93 cards in this large deck and 30 in each of the smaller ones. I I really respect what she's created here. So I'm excited to share it with you. And this is a really fun holiday gift, right? You know someone who is struggling to kind of see forward into their life, and give them the opportunity to learn divination. Give them the opportunity to explore their own intuitive skills and break free of old ways of thinking by pulling spreads. And you could use a tarot spread as well. You can use any tarot spread with these, any oracle spread, and just allow the word to speak toward that archetype. So this would be really helpful for someone who's craving guidance and need to listen to themselves first and foremost. Temper. I like that there's so many ways to look at temper, you know, to temper something or to have a temper. That's the fun of words, is that the archetype might have multiple layered meanings to it as well. And vitality and vulnerability is the last two. So that's the Sovereign Oracle. And yeah, highly recommend this deck. It's a wonderful deck. And she also, on the side of the deck, has Refine, Alchemy, Evolve, Vitality, Story, and Spirit, which are some of the characters that she is, some of the words she's using. Genius, Desire, Paradox, Process, Opportunity, Experiment. Really wonderful deck. Highly recommend. Great holiday gift. And thank you for listening. I also probably will be sharing a vision of 3 readings using these 3 new decks in another video. So please subscribe to my page and keep reading. Please share comments of what you liked or didn't like, or what words you'd add to this list in the comments below. Thank you very much.